This conference will now be recorded.
In last class, we were discussing about what is load balancing and what is ELB, and again, what is network load balancer, that is layer 4 load balancer, and also what is application load balancer, that is layer 7 load balancer. Right? And also we created a load balancer yesterday, and also we discussed about what is listener, what is target group. We deployed one application. In this VPC. We deployed one application in 2 servers. These are private servers. Which we are not able to access directly from internet. These application servers where our application is hosted. So we created a load balancer for this application. Before creating a load balancer, right? Or while creating a load balancer also you can do that. We created a target group. A logical grouping of your actual targets, that is your EC2 instances. Target group is a logical grouping of the targets, that is EC2 instances. In this target group, we created a target group and we added these 2 servers in the target group. And where we use this target group? In our load balancer, in the listener. In the listener, we use the target group. So if any request comes to this load balancer, do we have a listener which is listening on port 80 in the load balancer? Yes. Any request comes to this load balancer on port 80, the request will be forwarded to this target group. So in this target group, there are multiple targets. So is it distributing the load? Is it always sending the request to same server? Someone is asking. The name is not given, waiting for the name is coming. Sir, quick question, always request is directed to only one server? To make sure it is directed to other server as well? Is it always requested to request is going to same server? If you attended that Nginx class, did you guys heard about load balancing algorithms? If you guys attended or if you guys went through that video, Nginx video, there is a load balancing algorithms. What are the load balancing algorithms? In general, we have RR. It's not a triple R, guys. It is not triple R, just RR. It's not Rajmurali, Ramcharan, Ramarao. It's just a round robin. RR, round robin. RR stands for round robin fashion. And also we have a sticky session and also least connections. I mean to say least request. Like this, we have a algorithm, load balancing algorithm. So the most default one is which one? The default one is which one? Round robin. That is the whole purpose of the load balancer. If it is always routing the traffic to same server, that is not much helpful, right? So we have a load balancing algorithms, round robin, sticky session, least connection, like this. So based on the algorithm, it will distribute the load. Now I have a load balancer. I have a listener. Now this load balancer. Now Krishna Prasad is asking, sir, how to check the health of the application in load balancer? We already discussed yesterday. And again, I think you are still not clear. You are asking same question because today we shared the interview question. So in that interview question, there was a question how to check the health of the application in load balancer, which we already discussed. Do we have a health checks? Can we define health checks in the health checks? Did we define the health checks while creating a target group? Did we define the health checks? So is load balancer is going to perform the health checks based on the health checks which we are going to define in the background. You no need to perform. Is load balancer is going to perform the health checks based on the health checks you defined in the target group. If you see, this is the target group. Health checks. Is it performing the health checks based on this protocol on which port? Because this is a network load balancer. This is a network load balancer. In the network load balancer, as I already told yesterday, can we check health of the application if it is a network load balancer? No. But can we check health on the server and port? Only TCP check whether it can reach that server on that port or not. Kind of a telnet check. Is it performing already? If it is failed, if it is not able to reach for some reason, let's say Tomcat is stopped in this server, will it able to get a response back from that server from 8080 if the Tomcat is not running? No. In that case, can I see here as unhealthy in these targets? Can I see that as unhealthy? And I can see the details also, some details here. But if it is an application load balancer, can I define the health on the application path itself, the API path or application path itself, if it is an application load balancer? So is ELB is going to perform health check using those? Is ELB is going to perform the health checks based on the health checks you have defined while creating a target group? Yes. Guys, these are already discussed, but you need to practice all these things. You need to remember all these things. That is the key. We are discussing this DevOps course very extensively. To be frank, we are discussing this DevOps program almost 5 months now. Even though in the demo we are claiming we are covering in 4 months, 3.5 to 4 months. Actually, it is taking 5 months. But you should have a commitment, you should have a patience, commitment to learn and understand all these concepts. We are not covering just basics. We are covering in and out of whatever services we have committed. In and out of that we are discussing, but you need to understand, learn, practice, do the assignment so that you can understand and answer any question. If the interviewer is asking the questions on whatever tools or services we are discussing. Hope you are clear. What is health check? Why health checks is required? Where we are defining a health checks in AWS? If I am using while creating a target group, did we define? While creating a target group, did we define like this? While creating a target group, but if I just create a target group, if I don't use this target group, does the health checks will be performed? Does these health checks will be performed? No. But when these health checks will be performed, the moment I use this target group, the moment I use this target group in load balancer, does load balancer will start doing the health checks in the background? Yes. Now both are healthy. Both are healthy. So that's why it is showing as healthy. Now when I am accessing via this load balancer, I customized my application. I customized my code just to see which server is responding. This is my code. This is my code. Since I came from a development background, I customized my application just to show from which server we are getting the response. I customized something in the Java. I have written some code which is printing the IP address of that server where that application is hosted. So this is the logic. It is printing that server IP just to show that. Now I am getting response from this server 103. So do I have that server in the target group which I am using in my load balancer listener? That 103, maybe that 93. That can be this one. Yeah, this one. Now am I getting a response from this server? This server? when I'm accessing my application via load balancer? Yes. And some other guys, I am getting from 93, but from some other guys, are you guys getting from some other server instead of 93? Is load balancer is distributing the load? Someone was asking, always we are getting from same IP. Is the load balancer is distributing the load? I am getting from 93. Some guys are getting from 204 like that. Now, both servers are healthy. I am getting. Now, if some reason this server is down, the server itself is down, there is a network issue, there might be a firewall issue. Now, let's say I'm blocking this port in this server security group. Let's say I'm not going to open the port that 8080. Does health check will fail even though Tomcat is running? Does health check will fail? Does load balancer will be able to route the traffic to that server if you block the port here in this server even though Tomcat is running? Just to make it understand, I'm deleting this security group, that firewall. I'm not opening port 8080. Now do you see, if I try to access, am I getting response from different server 204? And after some time, can this 93 will be marked as unhealthy because after some time health check will fail. Why health check will fail? Even though Tomcat is running, why it is not able to reach this server on port 8080? Is firewall is blocking the request? Firewall is blocking the request? Yes. After some time, can I see that as unhealthy? So does load balancer will try to shift the traffic away for any server which is unhealthy? That can be network issue, that can be application issue or server issue. For some reason, it is not able to reach that server on port 8080. Is it going to mark that as unhealthy now here if you see? Now if you refresh here after some time, you can see unhealthy. Why after some time, why not immediate? Because that is depends on what? That is depends on your health check settings. What is the interval? I went with the default. How frequently that load balancer will perform health checks? If you see interval, how frequently? 30 seconds. And unhealthy threshold 3, healthy threshold 3, which means unhealthy threshold 3 consecutive times, which means continuously 3 times if it is not getting response, if continuously 3 times health check is failed, then only it will mark as unhealthy. So which means how much time it will take? 30 seconds and 3 times, approximately 90 seconds. But if required, can I modify? Can I modify only one time also? If it is failed, I want to mark it as fail. I want to reduce this interval. If I want to perform every 10 seconds also, will I able to perform? Yes, you can modify this one. Now if you see, now after some time, if it is cross that time, can I see that has one healthy, one unhealthy? Is that failed? But even though Tomcat is running, application is running, but still why it is marked as unhealthy? Because the firewall is blocking the request. Now let me open the firewall. Let me open the firewall in this security group of that server. Yesterday itself, I told Abhishek was asking, sir, in target group, security group, we have opened for all IP. Instead of, can I give only IP, load balancer IP? That is possible if you are using which load balancer? Application load balancer. Yesterday also I told, if it is a network load balancer, request will be forwarded with client IP, not load balancer IP. it is using TCP protocol, it is going to use client IP as a source IP. The load balancer will use client IP as a source IP to reach the target. So in that case, if I open only load balancer IP, since network load balancer will carry the client IP as a source IP, will it allow again? No. So that's why we are opening for everywhere. But if it is an application load balancer, what it does, the moment request goes to the application load balancer, that application load balancer IP will become a source IP. It will not carry the actual client IP as a source IP to your application. That application load balancer IP will be carried as a source IP from application load balancer to the server. So in that case, can I open only for application load balancer or maybe VPC range if I am using application load balancer? Yes. That is also one more important point. Okay. Now that's why I'm opening for everywhere. Now I opened without doing anything also. After some time, can I see that as healthy? That server, whatever it is showing in failed state, that unhealthy state. Now here, unhealthy. It is saying health check failed. Why it is failed? It will not give. Why it is failed? It will not give. Do you need to troubleshoot on your own by logging into that server, whether Tomcat is running or not, whether security group is opened or not? Do you need to troubleshoot on your own, whether that within that server, whether server is running or not? If the server is running, whether Tomcat is running or not? Even though Tomcat is running, whether the port is opened or not? Do you need to check all these things, troubleshooting? Yes. So we already discussed all these things, how to troubleshoot, but you need to apply all your knowledge, whatever you have learned in actual applications. When you are troubleshooting something, when you are implementing something new, you need to use all this knowledge. But if you by heart click on this button, execute this command, next execute this command, that will never help you. Understand the concept and apply those concepts. Now, after some time without doing anything, since I open that firewall port 8080, will I able to see this as healthy here? Once it is marked as healthy, here, does load balancer will again start sending the traffic to that server, that 93? Yes. So that is what it is going to do. Now, let's come back to our actual topic. I have a load balancer. Load balancer is routing the traffic, but this is kind of an internal name, kind of a host name. Can I ask my end users to access with this name? No. In the background, load balancer also will have an IP address. Right? If required, I can get the IP of this one. If required, I can get the IP of this one. How can I get the IP of some name, some domain? Anyone has any idea? How can I get the IP of that host or domain? There is a command called ns ifconfig will return the IP address of this server. I am not asking IP address of this server. I am asking IP of this domain. So there is a command called nslookup, and that name I can use. This name I can use. Don't use any HTTP like that, with only this one. So it is going to return the IPs like this. nslookup is not there, so they are trying to install some command, some module. nslookup, okay, one thing, typo is there. And again, if this doesn't have in NS, yeah. So is it returning some IP like this? Now, is this is a public IP. What is that public IP? Which machine IP is that? Is it my application server IP? Does my application server has a public IP? No. That is load balancer IP. Now, I am not using any port also. On which port request is going to this server? And which port request is going to this server? Default port 80. So do we have a listener? Do we have a listener which is listening on that port? Is that forwarded to the application server on port 8080 to the target group? So I'm getting a response. But if I ask my users of this application to use this IP or that name, does anyone can remember? Is it human friendly name? No. So if you see any application like flipkart.com or gmail.com or facebook.com, whatever it is. So we are accessing like this. So what is this? What is this? This www.flipkart.com or this just a gmail.com. What is this? All these things? These are the domain names. Domain names. Domain name. So what is domain name? Why do we need a domain name? Because as a human, will it be easy for you to remember some numerical numbers or alphanumeric characters to access your servers, your applications? No. So this domain name is basically DNS. DNS stands for domain name service. Using DNS, we can map IP addresses with human readable names that we call it as a domains. We can map using this DNS service. So if I mapped my domain with some IP, then can I access, instead of IP, can I use the domain name, whatever domain name I mapped with that IP, can I use that domain name to access the application? Yes. We can access that application. Guys, what is happening the moment you type anything like this in your browser? What is happening in the background? Anything like this in the browser, what is going to happen? Let me tell you. This is your laptop or mobile. You are typing something like this, flipkart.com. Your laptop or your mobile, whatever it is, you are typing like this. Somewhere in the world, I don't know where exactly Flipkart is hosted their application. Somewhere in the world, is Flipkart is hosted their application in their application servers? Will they have their database servers? Will they have their load balancers? Somewhere in the world, I don't know where exactly. That can be a data center, that can be their own data center, that might, they might have hosted in AWS cloud or Azure cloud, GCP cloud. I don't know, because I was never part of Flipkart IT team. Somewhere they might have hosted. They will have their application servers. That Flipkart might have hosted their application servers, and Flipkart may have their own database servers where they are maintaining the data of the customers, orders, products, all those things. So they are maintaining in the databases. Application will communicate with database to read and write the data, that you already know. Now, in front of their application servers, they will have one load balancer. If they are using their own data center, this load balancer can be a separate server using Nginx or using HTTPD or using F5 or HA proxy. They might have set up this one. If it is a cloud, if this is a cloud, if Flipkart is using some cloud to host their application, can it be a ELB if they are using AWS? Yes. Now, whenever we are typing like this in the browser, what is happening is the request is directly going to that load balancer from your laptop? No. First, what is happening? First request is, it is first doing the DNS lookup. First, it is going to do the DNS lookup. So from our laptop, the moment I type any domain like this, first DNS lookup will happen. First DNS lookup will happen. So it will check in two locations. One is, does each laptop or each device will have its own host file? Each laptop, each server, do you have a host file? Yes. So even though you are using Windows laptop, do you have a host file in your Windows laptop also? So what is the exact location of host file? In Windows laptop, where do you have a host file? Where if you are using Windows laptop or Windows desktop, in which location exactly it is there? In C drive, in C drive, system 32, C drive, system 32, under that you will have a host file. But if it is some Linux system, where is your host file? If it is a Linux system, in etc host. If it is a Windows host file, if it is a Windows laptop, you will have a host file in this location, guys. This location, C system 32, C Windows system 32 drivers etc host file. So first it will check in that file. First it will check in that file. Is this name mapped with any IP address in this file? Is this name mapped with any IP address in this file? But does Flipkart will ask us to do like this for all the end users? Will they ask us to do like this in your laptop? Or is Gmail is asking to do like that? Are they asking to do like this? Go to some system, execute ns lookup, and get the IP of that Flipkart domain and keep that like this. Will they ask like this? No. So it will check here. If it is not able to find the IP of that domain like this, in this file we don't have like this, then request goes to what? Request goes to the DNS servers. DNS servers. So, but do we need those DNS servers details? Where is the DNS servers? What is the IP of DNS server? How that is happening? The moment you connect to the internet, the moment you connect to the internet, is DNS servers are configured with your router? Is router is going to have all those details? The router, you are connecting to internet via router. Does router has DNS servers details? So who will manage this DNS servers? Is application team like Flipkart team is going to manage DNS servers? Or I am working on Flipkart, or I am working on LIC, I am working on something like SBI. Will they manage these DNS servers? No. Who will own these DNS servers? Internet, ISP. So internet service providers will have their own DNS servers. So if you see, I connected to some internet, that can be wired network or wireless network. I connected to this one. I am going to my network settings in my laptop. Here, advanced DNS. So I updated. Let me remove this. So do we have some DNS server details here? I connected to some internet, my laptop network preferences. I connected to that network. This network I connected, right? Now, do I have some DNS servers details? So which means the moment I type, Sunil is saying no. What is this, Sunil? What is these two IPs? These two is DNS servers. Is it my load balancer IP of any application? Is it the application server IP of any application? No, these are the DNS servers. But who will own these DNS servers? This is owned by ISP, Internet Service Providers. So the moment I connect to that, these DNS servers will reflect here. So first, does request goes to that DNS servers to resolve the IP of this domain? To resolve IP of this domain? Yes. So it will do the DNS query, DNS lookup or DNS querying. Once it's identified that IP of that domain, something like this, IP of the domain, something like this. Then does request goes to that IP? You are using domain, but in the background, is it going to that IP? Whatever IP is mapped with this domain, IP never comes in user perspective, but in the background, is IP is used for communication. In the user perspective, you don't see IP, but in the background request is going to that IP. Now, let's consider that IP. That IP is a load balancer public IP address. So does request goes to that load balancer? In that load balancer, you have proxy rules. If you are using normal HTTPD Nginx, we call it as a reverse proxy. Here, if I am using ELB, can I have a listener which is listening on that ports? Can I forward that to the target groups? This is how it is happening in the background. Whether it's this application, actual Flipkart application, whether this application, does the concept is going to be changed? Because people are saying more worried about real time. Sir, do you teach real time? If I start showing my project, the next day, if I start showing my project infrastructure, my project pipelines, my project source code, next day, my company will fire me. They will kick me out of the office. So whether it's an actual project, whether it is a demo project, sample project, does the concept of these load balancers, networks, DNS, database, Jenkins, whatever tool, whatever concept you are using, does it make any difference? Whether it is this application or other application, the concepts remain same. But the requirement will be different. That's it. Now, I don't want to use like this. I want to also have like this. I want my Mithun Technology students to access Mithun Technology's application with some domain name. I don't want to use like this. Then do I need a domain first? Do I need a domain first? Do I need to purchase a domain first? Then do I need to map that domain with some IP? Do I need to map that domain with some IP? What is that IP? With which IP can I map that domain with my load balancer? So that they can access. Now, since you are also practicing this, is domain is free? Some websites are offering for free, but most of the websites, they're not offering for free. So domain is not free. Sir, do I really need to purchase a domain just for practicing? Or can I just understand what concept you are discussing? It's up to you. I recommend you don't purchase any domain. I recommend you don't purchase any domain. If you want to practice, just go through this video and understand. Or just, I want to get that feel, sir. I don't want to use any IP. So in that case, without purchasing domain also, can you do this in your local laptop only for you? In your local laptop, will you able to do that similar behavior by having the entry like this in your local laptop, in the host file entry like this in your local laptop? But is it going to resolve for other system? Suppose you have done this in this system like this. You have given, sir, I want to do that. So I am doing like this in my local laptop. I'm trying to do like this. This is my IP, let's say. My load balancer IP. I'm talking about this load balancer. This is my load balancer IP. So I can map like this in that file, something like this, MithunTech app.com, something like this, MithunTech app.com, something like this. I'm mapping locally in that file. But suppose you are accessing from other device, other system, let's say, will it able to resolve? If you are accessing something like this MithunTech app.com in other system, you are trying to access, will it resolve if you are doing locally? You are trying to access like this mithuntech.com from other system. Will it able to resolve to that IP and request goes to that IP? Let's say this is my load balancer IP. This is my load balancer IP. This is my load balancer IP, public IP of that load balancer. Suppose you are accessing here, request goes to DNS, but in the DNS, do you have this mapping? In the DNS, do you have this mapping? No. But if you want to do in the DNS servers, do you need to have a valid domain? You need to have a valid domain. You need to purchase a domain, and that domain has to be mapped in the DNS servers. I don't want you to purchase that. If you want to get a feel of it, will you able to do it locally in that host file, add an entry, that IP, something like this. But will it work from other system? Globally, will it able to resolve? No. Let me show that. Let me show that. So this is my load balancer. 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 So load balancer, this is the kind of a internal name, DNS name. Now this IP I can resolve. This IP I can resolve. If it is a Windows laptop, I don't think NS lookup will work in your Windows laptop. Can you SSH to some Linux server and execute this NS lookup command? I am using MacBook. So I have this NS lookup. So it is giving some IP. It is giving some IP like this. It is giving some IP like this. Now, if it is Windows laptop, if it is working NS lookup in Windows also, you can try. Otherwise, you try to SSH to some Linux server and install that NS lookup package and do that. That you can do. Sir, when I am executing this NS lookup, I am getting error. I am not expecting those type of things. If you are getting NS lookup command not found, what does it mean? That is not there in that server. You need to install that software or package. Now, this is the IP. Now, I am in my local laptop, but this is a MacBook. It is not a Windows system or Windows laptop. This is a MacBook. Mac is also leveraging Linux in the background. So if it is a MacBook, again, where do we have a host file in that laptop? Again, in the etc only. In the etc only. Guys, don't do this in your servers. If you are trying to do like this, making a host entry, don't do this in your application servers. Don't do this in your application servers. This has to be done where I am saying, if you don't want to purchase a domain, you want to get a feel of using the domain, you should not do in your application servers where your application is deployed. This has to be done in your local laptop from where you are accessing that application. So if it is a Windows laptop, in which location you will have that file? This location. This location. So you go to that file. Again, edit host file in Windows 10. You need to follow this one, this process, because if you go to that folder in this EC, drivers etc host, if you go to this folder, etc folder, if you right click and open that in the normal user, in the notepad, you can open as a normal user, but will you be able to make any changes if you open that host file in a normal user in Windows laptop? No, that has to be opened as what? That has to be opened as administrator. So if you want to do that, what needs to be done? Press the Windows key, or you in the bottom you have Windows icon, right? In your Windows laptop you have a Windows icon, so press that one, type notepad in that search field, type notepad in that search field, right click on that notepad, and you need to select this option, run as administrator. So notepad will be opened in a administrator mode. From the notepad, once the notepad is opened, can you go and do like this, open file, open this file? Then will you able to make necessary changes and save because you open notepad as administrator? Yes. So you need to follow this process if you want to open and edit host file. Now I am using laptop, MacBook, so I am having that in a host, this itself, in this location, etc host file in my laptop. I am doing these changes in my laptop. This is my load balancer IP. It is asking my password because again in my laptop also I need to do in administrator mode. So can I have something like this? Can I have the IP of that machine, that load balancer? Can I have something like this? Maven app dot something like this, mithuntech.com, something like this. I am not purchasing any domain, I am just mapping this name with this IP. Now from my laptop, when I access this one, will it result to this IP because it is part of host file entry in my laptop? This will resolve. Now let me show that. From my laptop, I am trying to access like this. Is it result to that IP and request is going to the load balancer? If you see, now within this, do I have an application like this? Do I have an application like this? Am I able to access with this name instead of IP, some meaningful name? But will this work for you? I am pinging this one. Will this work for you? I am pinging that URL. Do you guys able to access? No, because that I have done locally. But if I want to make this resolve globally, do I need to purchase a domain and map that domain with that IP in the DNS servers? Yes. But you can practice like this if you don't want to purchase a domain. If you don't want to purchase a domain, you can practice like this. But for now, I already have a domain. I will show how to do that globally. I already have a domain. I'll show how to do that globally. Now in AWS, there is another service called Route 53. In AWS, there is another service called Route 53. What is this Route 53? It's a DNS service. DNS service. Route 53. So what is this 53 basically? 53 is a port number. Port number. All the DNS queries will happen on which port? The DNS lookup or DNS queries will happen on 53. So the service name itself, they have given it as a Route 53. Route 53. That 53 is basically DNS will listen on 53. DNS service will listen on 53. The DNS services, the request to the DNS queries will happen through 53 port. Now, that is all networking stuff. You don't need much details there, but let me show that. In AWS, there is one service called Route 53. Guys, I am saying now itself, if you have a valid domain, if you have purchased domain, then only open this Route 53 and do the changes. If you don't have domain, whatever I am doing in Route 53, will it work for you? You no need to come to this Route 53 at all if you don't have a domain. Because people are blindly doing whatever I am trying to do. Because in the class, I am doing something in the Route 53, they are doing in the Route 53, and they are saying, sir, I am not able to access with that domain. First of all, do you have a domain? When they ask, no, sir, I don't have a domain. Then if you don't have a domain, whatever I do in Route 53, does it make any sense? No. So if you don't have a domain, don't click. First of all, don't come to this Route 53 service if you don't have a domain. If you don't have a domain, will you able to do like this, whatever I have done as of now? If you want to get a feel of it, like this, yes. But in actual applications, in actual projects, are you going to do like this? Does anyone will ask you to do like this in your laptop, like Flipkart, Gmail, Facebook, any application, SBI, Citibank, LIC? Nothing, because they have a valid domain. They have a valid domain. Whatever we are doing locally here, is that already happened globally in all the DNS servers? Yes. So if you don't have a domain, don't do anything in Route 53, because I am going to explain this Route 53 multiple times. Now also I am doing this. Now also I am doing this. When I am going for Kubernetes also, when I am going to Kubernetes also, again we will map some domains with some load balancers when I am teaching Kubernetes also. So if you don't have a domain, don't do this here. Any topic, whether it's a AWS when I am explaining, in Kubernetes also we will use domains, we will map domains with load balancers. Again, that time also, if you don't have a domain, only thing what you need to do, you have to map something like this in your host file. So let me do that. I have a domain. So I am going to the Route 53 service. What is this Route 53? DNS as well as domain name registration, both. DNS as well as domain name registration, both. If required, can I purchase a domain in Route 53? I can map the domain, and also at the same time I can purchase the domain also. You can purchase a domain, you can register your domain. At the same time I can map the domain. But you already have a domain from different provider. You already have a different domain from different provider, like GoDaddy. Anyone heard about GoDaddy? Even though you don't know what is GoDaddy, it is famous because in the TV, in the ads, every time they are saying GoDaddy, GoDaddy. Almost from last 7-8 years, I used to see that ad. That time I was not sure what is this GoDaddy. They are saying GoDaddy. So this is one hosting provider. This is one hosting provider. What is the meaning of hosting provider? Now I want to host some application. I want to host one application. In fact, this website, in fact, our website, mithuntechnologies.co.in, there is some website, Mithun Technologies website. Mithun Technologies website. This Mithun Technologies website, actually, we hosted this one in GoDaddy only. Because I don't have any server to have my application up and running all the time 24/7. I want my server to be up and running, and it is very small application. Do I need to set up a data center for this application? Not required. I don't have that much funds also. So what we have done, we hosted this application in GoDaddy. We hosted this application in GoDaddy. What does it mean? Does GoDaddy will provide servers to host my application? That's what I'm saying. Hosting platform. GoDaddy is a hosting platform, hosting provider. Can I have my applications hosted in the infrastructure offering by GoDaddy? Yes. And at the same time, If required, can I purchase the domain also? It's a hosting provider and also DNS provider. If required, can I purchase the domain also? Yes. So I purchase a domain, not this one, not that one, whatever I was showing. I purchase a domain from GoDaddy. If I have a domain from different provider, can I still map that domain in Route 53? Even though I'm not purchasing domain from Route 53, can I still map that domain in Route 53 even though I purchased a domain from different provider? Yes, you can do that also. You can do that also. Now, I already have a domain. I already purchased a domain. Guys, if you want to know more about what is hosting website, hosting application, you can go through this. What is GoDaddy? They can explain better. So hosting website or hosting application. Website is nothing but what? Website or application. Is both are same or both are two different things? Application is website, website is application. Can I call this as a Flipkart website? At the same time, can I call this as a Flipkart application? This is application. At the same time, this is website. Application, there can be a web application. Again, there are different types of application. Application can be a web application. That application can be a mobile application. That application can be a standalone application. If it is a web application, can I access from anywhere without installing that application in my laptop? Is my Flipkart application is hosted or installed in my laptop, guys? Or my desktop? No. Since it's a web application, am I able to access this web application from internet? If it is a mobile application or standalone application, do I need to install that mobile application in mobile or that standalone device to access if it is a standalone application? Yes. I hope this is already discussed by Bhaskar sir when he was explaining, I think before Maven or after Maven. I'm not sure when exactly. I hope this is already discussed. What is web application? What is standalone application? Now, let me come back to this topic, DNS topic. Now I have a Route 53 and I already have a domain from GoDaddy. So let me open my GoDaddy account. So I logged into GoDaddy with my email ID. With my email ID, I already logged in and I have a domains. So I already logged in. I have a domain. I have some products from GoDaddy, basically domain. So this is my domain. mithuntechdevops.co.in is my domain. I purchased this domain from GoDaddy, not from Route 53. But will I able to map this domain with the load balancer, which is there in AWS account? The infrastructure is in AWS, my load balancer, my application servers, everything is in AWS, but I have a domain from this one. Is it able to map this domain with that load balancer which is running in AWS? Yes, you can do that in the Route 53. It is not mandatory to purchase a domain here. Now let me go to Route 53. But in the actual projects, who is going to handle all these things, guys? Domains, DNS, all these things, there will be a separate team called networking team. Networking team. So networking team will take care about all these things. If you are part of networking team, do you need to aware about what is domain, what is hosted zones, what is record type in DNS, all those things you need to be familiar if you are part of networking team. But just to give an overview, I am doing this here. So here I can map the domain and I can purchase the domain also. The moment I go to Route 53, this is the dashboard. The moment I go to Route 53, this is the dashboard. Now here, do I have an option to purchase the domain also? Domain registration. A domain name is the name such as example.com that you can use to access your application. If required, can I purchase a domain here also? Yes, but I don't want to purchase a domain. Already I have purchased. Now I can check whether this domain is available or not. Is that domain is available, guys? I want to again purchase a domain like flipkart.com. Is that flipkart.com is available for us? The domain? No. Because is this domain already used by some company, some application, some company? Yes. So do we need to have a unique names? Domain name should be unique. Yes. Just to make it simple, this DNS is like a telephone directory. This DNS is like a telephone directory. In olden days, if you are a 90 generation kid, in early 95 till 2002, 3, till this mobile era came, right? Everyone used to have a landline in their home, and also used to have a very huge large book in the home. We call it as a telephone directory or telephone dictionary. So in the telephone directory, do we used to have a name with respect to person phone number in the alphabetic order? So I can remember the name, not the number. So with that name, can I go to that telephone directory and search what is the phone number of that person, and can I dial in? Yes. Similarly, every application in the world is running in some server. To access that application, is it easy to remember IP address of that server as a human? No. So do we need some kind of a telephone directory globally in the network? Yes, that is what DNS. That is what DNS. DNS will have kind of a mappings of IPs with names, domain names. So do we need to have a unique domain name? Can I have two applications with same domain name, guys? Like flipkart.com, can I have two different applications? No, right? So we need to have a unique name. So this domain is not available. But if required, can I purchase this domain like cloudflipkart.com or flipkart.tv, flipkart.app.net? These domains are available. And how much they are charging? If it is a .com, again there are different types: .com, .net, .org, .edu or EU. Basically, there are some standards. EDU, all educational institutes will have a EDU. .com is basically commercial business. Any business application will have .com. We have a .co.in. What is that .co.in? Company.in, co.in. India specific. Like that, you have some domains. You can purchase whatever, whether it's a .com, whether it's a edu, .net, .edu. These are the extensions of the domain. So how much this domain they are going to charge per year? Again, if I have to purchase per year, how much they will charge? $12. But every year you need to again renew this one. If you don't renew, again, does the domain will be available for public again? Does anyone can purchase again if you don't renew that domain? Yes. This renewal of domain is also very important. Let's consider one use case. Flipkart.com website, Flipkart.com domain. Let's consider the IT team of Flipkart is forgot to renew the domain. So immediately if someone purchase that Flipkart.com, does again Flipkart application can use that domain? No. Again, you need to request that guy. Again, as a Flipkart company, they have to request that guy to transfer the domain to them. This is also very big business, guys, in the background. I am not sure whether you are aware about or not. Lot of people purchase domains and they will hold. It is very big business in the background. They will purchase some good domains and they will hold. They will not use for any application. Suppose I am looking for very good domain, and if someone is already reserved that domain, if I am looking for the domain, I need to pay a lot of money. It is like a fancy numbers, guys. You are purchasing a vehicle. You are purchasing a vehicle, right? So if you need some very good fancy number for your car or bike, are you going to pay bulk money to the RTO or agent to get that number? Same here. So this is also very good business. A lot of people does. Even GoDaddy also does the same, but a lot of people also do. I can purchase this domain and I can demand, if someone is looking for this domain, I can demand you pay 1 lakh, I will give this domain to you. I will transfer this domain to you. Something like that. So if required, you can purchase a domain here itself. Otherwise, I already have a domain. So I am not going to purchase here. I already have a domain here. Now I will directly go to the other concept in the Route 53. Here, now I need to create a hosted zone. In Route 53, I need to create a hosted zone. So what is this hosted zone? Hosted zone will tell how to respond to DNS queries. Suppose if any DNS query is coming, how to respond to that query? That will be handled in the hosted zone, which means, can I map my domain with the IP or that load balancer by creating a hosted zone? Yes. So I'm creating a hosted zone. But do you need a valid domain? If you want to come here, creating a hosted zone, you need to have a valid domain, either from AWS or either from any other provider. If you don't have a domain, don't come to this page at all. Leave it. You only practice using your local host file. Again, I am repeating. Now I have a domain. So this is my domain, mithuntechdevops.co.in. With this domain, what I am trying to do, I am creating a hosted zone. I am creating a hosted zone with the domain name. So this is my domain name. With that, I am creating a hosted zone. Again, there are two types of hosted zone: public hosted zone, private hosted zone. If it is a private hosted zone, will this domain will be able to resolve to the IP in the internet? No. Can I consider this as an internal domain that can be accessible within that network, within that company, within that office network, or within that company network? Only it will resolve. But this is for my end users. This is for my end users. So does this domain should be resolved in the internet? So what type of hosted zone I have to create? Now, public hosted zone. Public hosted zone. With this public hosted zone, I am creating a hosted zone. Now, once this hosted zone is created, I am getting some NS namespace. I know this name servers. We call it as a name servers. Name server. NS stands for name server here in the DNS. So since I have domain from different provider, do I need to update this name server details in the DNS provider? The guy who is offering the DNS for me, I need to update in the DNS provider. But suppose I purchase this name server, if I purchase the domain from AWS itself, do I need to do anything additionally here? With this name servers, not required. So first I will take this name servers. I'll take these name servers here. What is name servers? That name servers are basically kind of a DNS servers. So where the mapping, that data will be maintained, IP with that name will be maintained. So let me take this name server details. Let me go to my Route 53. This is my domain. I'll click on manage domain. I'll click on this manage domain. I'll go to this domain. I'll go to this domain. I'll click on this manage domain, this manage DNS. Here, I will update those records. I will update those records here. Because I am having a domain from the different provider. So I will say edit my own servers. Now these are old name server details. I am deleting all these things. Now I am make sure you have in 4 different lines. This is one. This is another entry. I am adding one more, all those details. But at the last, don't have dot. At the last or at the beginning also don't have any dot. So something like this. I am going to add name servers. I am updating with my DNS provider. Oh, there is a still dot here. Let me see. So I updated those details. I updated those details in the domain. In that domain. In this domain, DNS server, this provider, I updated my name server details. Now, but still you need to do some mapping. Is it updated or still old? org.1377603 to 151.603. It is not updated, it seems. It's not updated. Let me change. Edit, enter my own name servers. I have not updated. Let me do it again. Let me take this here and let me update. Let me take this one. Let me update. Let me take this one. Let me update the last one. Also, I'll update only these 4 name servers. Now let me click on save. Yes, I want to update. Click on continue. I think last time I clicked on close instead of continue. Now it's updated. Now if you refresh this page, hopefully I should see the updated one. The name servers updated one. Here I can see the updated ones here. Now we just updated the name servers details, but still, is this domain mapped with my load balancer anywhere as of now? Is this domain mapped with load balancer anywhere as of now? No. Now that we will do in the Route 53. That we will do in the Route 53. Now these records are updated. That is fine. Now let's come back to Route 53. In this hosted zone, we are going to create a one more record. There are different concepts, guys. A record. I am creating a one more record. Record type A. There are different types. CNAME record, A record, CNAME record, MX record. MX is mail servers. Mail servers. So I can create a type. A type record, what it will do? It will route the traffic to an IPv4 address or some AWS resources. Some AWS resources. This CNAME routes the traffic to another domain. I can receive the domain and I can forward the traffic to another domain, kind of alias. CNAME is like an alias. So I am selecting A type. I am selecting A type. Now, if anyone access like this mithuntechdevops.co.in, route the traffic. Here, they have given some option like this. Can I give IP address here of that load balancer? I can give the IP address of that load balancer. Otherwise, can I select this alias? I don't want to give IP address. Can I select this alias and select the load balancer? To which load balancer you want to route? If you see, alias to network load balancer, alias to application load balancer, like that. Now, can I select this alias to network load balancer? Because as of now, what type of load balancer I have created? network load balancer. In which region my load balancer is there? As of now, in which region my load balancer is there? Mumbai region. This is domain. If anyone access like this, is it going to respond back with IP of this load balancer, whatever I have selected now? Whatever I have selected now, this one. If anyone access like this, is DNS is going to respond back with IP of this load balancer? In the internet, anyone access this domain in the internet, is it going to resolve the IP of this load balancer? And again, this is a public load balancer, internet facing load balancer, public IP. From any network, will they able to reach to this IP, that public IP, that load balancer from internet? Again, yes. Now here, if required, can I give subdomains also? Something like this, www.ww. If I give www, which means if anyone access like www.mithuntechdevops.co.in, then it will resolve. Otherwise, can I use something like this subdomain, mavenwebapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in, which means anyone access mavenwebapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in, then it will resolve to this one. But if I give empty here, then how it will take? Just mithuntechdevops.co.in will resolve to this one. Now let me give something like this, mavenwebapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in, kind of a subdomain. Now if anyone access like this, now let me create a record. Now the mapping is done. Now who is owning all these name servers? Some name servers are owned by different ISPs, different internet service providers. Does all the name servers in the internet will sync with each other? Now this mapping is going to be flushed to these name servers. The other name servers also, whatever name servers we have in the world, does other name servers also will be syncing with these name servers, and these name servers also will sync with other name servers from different ISPs to have all the DNS, public DNS? Yes. Now this is going to sync with these name servers, but will it reflect immediately in the internet, or will it take some time? Now I am accessing like this, mavenwebapp.mithuntechdevops.co.in, my application context. It's already started resolving. Ideally, it will take some time. It may take up to 4 hours also. But do we have any control on that one? If it is taking 1 hour, 2 hours, we don't have any control. That is out of our control. Now, if you want to see whether it is synced or not, there are some websites available like this, DNS checker. Now, if this is my domain, not this one, subdomain. Now I can see whether it is synced or not. Something like this. I'm just typing my domain without HTTP. Don't use HTTP again here. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to click on search. If you see, is it already reflected in most of the DNS locations in the world? In India also we have DNS in Kota, Rajasthan, and Bangladesh. Like these are, DNS is very huge concept, guys, but we no need to worry about all these things. There are root servers in the DNS, again sub servers. That is very big concept. So it is not worry. We are not worried about that much level. But if you see in the across the globe, is everywhere, is this domain reflected in all the DNS servers across the globe? As of now, which means, does anyone can access my application in the internet using domain instead of IP? Now you are accessing from your laptop. Is the request is going to the DNS servers, which is connected with your router, with your ISP, your router. In that DNS servers, is it able to resolve the IP of this domain? Yes. Then you are able to access. This is how DNS works. Is everyone clear, guys? Because maybe you are using flipkart.com. What is happening in the flipkart.com? You might have thinking when I am typing like this, what is happening, right? You might have some thinking, right? So this is basically one domain. This domain is mapped with some IP. The request is going to that IP. From that IP, request can go to application servers, whatever it is in the background. Now this is how we can expose our application to the users. Now this is one application. Let's say I have another application. Let's say I have another application. Let's say in same way we can host our application. Yes. Is this not my own application, guys? What you are accessing? Is it not my own application? What you are accessing? Is it owned by someone else? It's owned by me. Did I build this application? Did I deploy this application? And you are the kind of a students of Mithun Technologies. Are you guys able to access my application? You are the customers for me. I am Mithun Technologies trainer and you are the customers for me. So this is very simple application, but can I hire some developers to develop one application where I can build a page where what trainings are we are offering, and can I display what trainings we are offering, what syllabus we are covering, when we are starting new batches? Can I have some page where I can display all the details using some developers? I can hire some developers. I will say my page should look like this and my application should have all these features. My students will be able to register. My students will be able to do the payment also using that application. My students should be able to download notes from that application. They can register to that application the way you guys are registering in Flipkart and you are doing the transaction with Flipkart. Can I hire some developers to build this type of application as per my requirement? Can I host that application in the way I have hosted? That application may have a databases in the background to store that information, students information, all those things. Application, your requirement, but that application can be developed as per your requirement. I can deploy and I can make that accessible to the users. Is Flipkart is hired some developers to build this website? I mean to say, does Flipkart has hired some UI developers to develop this one? Does Flipkart has some backend developers to develop the backend code? Does Flipkart have a database administrator to manage the database? Okay. All these things will be having. Okay. So that is how it works. Sir, is NS will be same or different for ISP? I am not from networking background, guys. To be frank, I will never do this type of things in my project also. But just to give an overview, I am discussing here. Who will take care all these things in the background, managing DNS, managing domains, all these things? There will be a networking team. But just to give an overview, I am covering all these services so that you can understand what is what. And you no need to be expert in the networking. You no need to be a CCNA certified network administrator. If you are a CCNA certified, or you become a DevOps engineer, will you become a DevOps engineer? If you have a CCNA certified, will you become a developer? No, you will become only network admin. You will become network admin. You will become a network engineer if you are a CCNA certified, right? So there are a lot of teams, but understanding all these things together, how it will work is important. But you no need to be put your finger in each and every corner. They will not allow also. If you try to do something in the other area, they will say this is not in your scope. You do your work, I will do my work. They will simply say. But understanding is important. Understanding is important. How it is working, why it is, why this Concept is important. But let's assume you are good at concept. For some reason, they hire you as a network engineer. In that case, will you be able to explore on top of whatever we discuss now? Will you be able to get more into the networking concept again? What is DNS? What is names? That name server, and how to create our own DNS server if required, private DNS, public DNS. That you can get into more when you are part of that team. Guys, IT, especially this software, it's like a ocean. Again, DevOps is also kind of a ocean. DevOps is one name. Within DevOps, do we have multiple teams like infrastructure team, networking team, database administrators, CI/CD, that build and release team, monitoring team? There will be a different teams. All these teams will work together collaboratively to bring our application up and running and with high quality, very good quality, and within quick time we should be able to host our application. So all these teams has to work collaboratively, which means we need to work with multiple teams collaboratively to implement this DevOps methodology. So based on the area you are working, you should be strong in that area. Suppose you are working in infrastructure team, do you need to worry about what is Jenkins, how to write pipeline, what is declarative, what is scripted? If you are only part of infrastructure team, you are just focusing only creating an infrastructure like server, storage, network. No. But if you are part of this CI/CD team, build and release, continuous integration, continuous, do you need to worry about what is Git, why we need Git, what is SonarQube, what is Maven, what is Nexus, what is Jenkins, how we can continuously integrate all these things and apply to the servers? But you may not have created a servers. Someone else might have created a servers for you in which you are deploying using pipeline. You might have created a servers, but someone else might have created a servers for you, and you are using those servers to deploy your application from pipeline. So concept is important. Okay, don't scratch your head. Do I need to learn all these things? Do I need to remember all these things? You need to remember, but you are not going to work on all these things. I hope everyone clear. In enterprise level, in company, each team, each person will have its own expectations, roles and responsibilities. But to get a better opportunities, the more knowledge you have, the more subject you have, will you have a better opportunities in the software? Do you have a better package, better growth? The more knowledge, the more subject you have? Yes. Guys, if you want to be in IT, whether you are a developer, whether you are a DevOps guy, whether you are network admin or database admin, storage admin, if you want to be in IT and if you want to be have a good growth, you need to keep learning. You need to keep learning, keep upgrading as and based on the market demands. So just to tell my story itself, I started as a Java developer. When I joined in IT 2010, in 2010, at the end of 2009, 2010 beginning, I came to IT. I joined as a Java developer. But now, after 13 years from that, I moved to different things. Sometimes I worked in Selenium, sometimes I worked in Java, sometimes I worked in Python, sometimes I worked in different development. From last 5-6 years, the DevOps came into market. Almost from 2013 it started. 2012-13 DevOps started like anything. So from that time I see there is a good opportunity, good growth. So within my project itself, they started DevOps process. There was no DevOps engineers because it is beginning. So I took an initiative with my manager. I had a discussion. I'll give some tasks on this DevOps tasks. I'll try to learn. I will learn myself and I'll explore. I'll do that. I took that initiative myself and I started like that. Slowly I moved to complete DevOps. I worked on GCP, I worked on Azure, but no trainings, guys. No trainings. Kind of a self-upgrade. Sometimes in the office also they will provide trainings, not like this. Like I got a Azure training, as I already told. Within 2 days they complete Azure. I got a GCP training also. Within 1 week they finish the GCP training. But if you have an interest and passion to learn, there are plenty of documentations. Official websites itself has lot of things. If you want to really learn more, does this has everything? But if you are already in IT, you can learn. But if you are completely new to this technology tool, you need an instructor, you need a trainer to make you understand what is what. If you are having some issues, you need to check with that trainer how to resolve all these things if you are a beginner. But if you are already in IT, you are already working in that area, you can learn yourself based on the requirement. Okay. So self-upgradation, self-learning is very, very important. Because today I am explaining Jenkins, we are explaining AWS. If they hire you in a project where they are using, let's say, Bamboo, instead of AWS, they are using Azure. But if you already know what is Jenkins, what is CI, what is CD, will I able to at least understand how I can do that in Bamboo? The tool is different. But whatever we are using Jenkins, will I able to do that using Bamboo also? Or Travis CI, Circle CI, whatever, concept same. Whatever I am doing in AWS, can I able to do using Azure also if I already know AWS? Same thing. So concept is important. Self-learning is very, very important. Is everyone clear? Because nothing is fixed in DevOps. I know IT or DevOps. Like today we are using Jenkins. After 4 or 5 years, is there a guarantee that Jenkins will be used widely? No. You need to keep keep learning as per the market trends. Otherwise, your career will become stagnant. Stagnant in the sense there is no growth if you don't upgrade, if you don't learn, or if you don't upgrade yourself, your career will become stagnant. Once you go to some senior position, if you are not performing as per the market demand, as per the application expectation, they may fire also. Layoffs. If you see, I think 2 years back, one of the company, I don't want to name that company has fired almost 3,000 senior people, directors and above. Within a month, they laid off approximately 3,000 senior people, directors and above. Do you know the reason? They are not up to the market. They joined almost 15-20 years back. They are very low at skills, so they don't want to pay that much money for them. So self-learning is very, very important. Not only just don't think once I join some DevOps course, I can survive next 30 years in these tools. No. Okay, that is also important. Okay, now let's come back to again our actual topic. Now I have a load balancer and I am able to access my application using that load balancer like this. Now, if I have another application, will I able to use same load balancer to route the traffic to another application with same load balancer if I am using network load balancer? No. Let me show that quickly. I already have one server. Let's say I already have one more private server. Can I install some different application in this server? I already have one more private server. If you see, I have one more private server. Can I install one different application in this server? Let's say I'm trying to deploy another application, Java Web, another application. This can be your Node.js application or Python application, anything. Now, I'm trying to deploy this application. One more application is there. one more application is there. This application, let's say this application. Again, it's a Java based web application only. So I will clone this. Again, I will build this with the help of this server. With the help of this server, I'm building that application again. Let me connect to that server. This is a public server in that VPC, jump server. Here I will clone that. Here I will clone that application. I'll clone this application. Now I will build that application. I'll go inside that folder, that other project. I will build that package. I'll build that package. Meantime, as of now, do I have a Tomcat installed in this server? In this server, the existing private server, I had one more private server. Do I have a Tomcat installed in this server? If you remember, no, I have not installed. I didn't install, I think. I didn't install in this server. This is completely new server. This is completely new server. I don't think I have installed Tomcat in this server. No, I have not installed in this server. How can I confirm? Can I SSH to this private server from jump server and see whether Java is installed, Tomcat is installed or not? Yes. So let me do that. Let me do that. Will I able to directly connect to this server? This is a private server from my laptop. Will I able to directly do that? No. So I cannot do that. So first I am connecting to the jump server. I am connecting to the jump server. This server. I am connecting to the jump server. So from here, I will SSH to that private server. Do I have this PEM file which is used for this server also? Which is used for this server also? Yes. So I'm going to connect to that server. SSH-i, that PEM file, ec2-user @ that IP address. Now, if you see, do I have any Tomcat process or Java process running here? No. So is that 8080 is opened or listening? Because first of all, Tomcat is not at all running here. If I want to test locally, can I do something like this? curl-v localhost, because I am already in this machine. Can I use localhost 8080 to see? Nothing is running on 8080, right? So let me install. Let me install Tomcat quickly. I am installing Tomcat. Once the Tomcat is installed, it is starting the Tomcat also. The Tomcat is installed and it is starting the Tomcat also. Then will I able to deploy this WAR file, whatever WAR file I created in this server, will I able to copy this WAR file to that server, that private server, whatever I am using? Yes. Now, this time, if you see, is, oh sorry, grep was missing. So if you see, do you have a Java process, I mean to say Tomcat process running? Do you have port 8080 started already? Do you have a port 8080 listening or started already? And locally, am I able to access the Tomcat homepage locally? Yes. Now I will deploy this. Now this application, I will deploy this under this target file. Can I use SCP with again that PEM file, which is part of home directory? I will copy this up WAR file to this server ec2-user @ this server private IP I am using. Which location? I have a Tomcat, I think OPT, Tomcat 8, web apps. I will copy as just, I will not give this version. I will copy something like this. So this is my application context. Most of the cases, your var file name is your application context. I am copying like this. Now here, local host in the other server is my application is deployed. Now am I able to access locally? If you see that application locally, yes. Now here, do I need to open port security group 8080 if I want to access from other servers? That can be other server or load balancer. Yes, I am going to open. Without opening security group, will I able to reach this one from other servers or load balancers? No. So I am opening for everywhere again. Now, from this machine, this is different machine altogether. From this machine, will I able to access that application using that IP address where my application is deployed? This is where my application is deployed. I am using this IP and port 8080. Is my application is working? Am I able to access from other server also after opening the port? Request is going to this server on this port. Now, I want to make this available to the end users also. I want to make this available to the end users also. Now, I already have a load balancer. Now, is it possible for me to differentiate the application and route the traffic to different target group here? Whether request is coming for that application or different application, it is not possible here. Again, is it correct to add that server also to this target group? Is it correct to add that server also to this target group? It's not correct to add that server to this target group, because if I add that server, whenever we are accessing this application, does the request goes to that server also? The server which I am going to add now, if I add that server to this target group, it will go. But do we have this application running in that server? No. So in that case, will I get a 404? Will I get a 404 if I am accessing like this? Yes. Otherwise, if I am accessing like this also, let's say, then does request goes to these servers, and will I have that application in this server? No. So is it correct to add that server to this target group? No. So I have to create a separate target group. That is for different application. I am creating a separate target group like this. On which protocol? If I have to use network load balancer, TCP. And what is my target group port? 8080. Now in which network I want to create this target group? Flipkart. And health checks. If you want to reduce the health checks, suppose every 10 seconds you want to perform, you can make this 10. Healthy threshold, only 2 times you want to perform. Continuously 2 times, if it is healthy or unhealthy, it will use that. Like this, you can modify. Then here, can I add this server where this application is deployed to this target group? Only this server. But if you have 2-3 more servers, can I add all those servers where that application is hosted? If I have another 2-3 servers, yes. As of now, only one server. Selected, include as pending below, create a target group. But in this load balancer, will I able to differentiate whether request is coming for that application or different application, and will I able to route the traffic to the different target groups here? Do you have a mechanism to differentiate in the network load balancer, layer 4 load balancer? No. In that case, do I need to create another load balancer if it is a network load balancer? Yes. So let me create another network load balancer. Another network load balancer. Now, again, internet facing, select that network. Here, select two subnets. Again, how many minimum public subnets are required to create internet facing? 2. So I selected both public subnets. Now here, whenever request comes to this load balancer, the load balancer which I am creating, whenever request comes to this load balancer on port 80, can I forward the traffic to this target group, the other application? So I can use this load balancer. Now I have two different load balancers. Now using this load balancer, can I access other application from internet? Using this load balancer, will I able to access other application in the sense this application, the Java application? Will I able to access other application in the sense this application? From this load balancer, will I able to access this application? This one? Yes. Now it is taking some time. But again, is this human friendly? Again, is this human friendly? Something like this I can access, but is it human friendly? No. Why it is still not reachable? Because the port is open, but is your load balancer is completely ready? Is it provisioned? Is it active? No. It is still creating. Port is already opened, guys. If you remember, did I already open the port in that server? I already opened the port. You can see that port is already opened. 8080 is opened for everywhere. It is not because of the port. The load balancer is still getting created. Once this is ready, then will it work? Once this is ready, yes. But in the meantime, can I map this load balancer also with a different domain, different name in my DNS servers? In the meantime, I will map with a different name. Now, I already have a hosted zone. Created. I don't have other domain. Same domain, subdomains. I have only one domain, mithuntechdevops.co.in. So with that, I mapped this subdomain with that load balancer. Similarly, can I create one more A record saying that Java web app.mithuntechdevops.co.in? Can I map that to other load balancer, kind of a subdomain? So I'm creating one more record, something like this, Java web app.mithuntechdevops.co.in. If this is the domain, route the traffic to this load balancer, network load balancer. Which region? Mumbai region. Which load balancer now I will select out of these two? I will select the second one. Now with this I'll create a record. Let's see if the load balancer is ready by this time. Load balancer is ready. Now I have done the domain mapping also. Java web app.mithuntechdevops.co.in, and this is my application context. Am I able to access from internet the other application? And you guys able to access? I ping that URL to you. Yes. You guys also should be able to access. But if I go with application load balancer, Do I really need two load balancers to route the traffic for these two applications? If I go with application load balancer, no. How to create application load balancer, how to define host based routing, path based routing, I'll continue tomorrow. So is everyone clear? What is network load balancer, how it functions, what is DNS, how can we map domains with load balancers in Route 53, what is hosted zone in Route 53? Is everyone clear? Thank you guys. That's it for today. I'll continue tomorrow with application load balancer. So how many classes are left for AWS, right? So tomorrow application load balancer will be done. ELB will be done tomorrow basically. Once ELB is done, auto scaling one day, IAM and CLI one day. Auto scaling one day and IAM and CLI one day. As I already told, this ECR and EKS we will discuss later. So how many classes? Approximately 3 classes left. Guys, I am trying to cover in and out of all these services. That's why it is taking time. That's why it is taking time. Because if I can explain at high level, but that may not helpful for you. For junior resources, fine. For 3 to 4 years, they will not ask this much extent. But if you are already have a IT experience like 5 years, 6 years, and you are trying to switch from one technology to other technology, they will consider your IT experience. Even though you are not working in that technology, they will consider your IT experience. They will ask all these things like what is networking, what is load balancer. So in that time, you will have a trouble. So that's why I'm trying to cover all these services in detail, so that you will get a complete picture. So I'll continue tomorrow with this ELB application load balancer. Thank you guys. Try to practice whatever I am discussing. Again, I am repeating. If you don't attend the classes, if you don't do the assignments, if you don't do the practice regularly, no one can help you. Even God cannot save. In the interviews, right? So try to attend all the sessions without missing any single session, and do the practice also at the same time. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.